inside the box, the actual box, there's your laser source, and inside that laser source is a bunch of really, really tightly coiled fiber optic cable. And that fiber optic cable runs all the way out through that machine, out through the cord that runs up along the back, and then through the laser path all the way to the emitter. That's literally all one piece. So we're just going to be chatting with everybody. I wish that you had saved the pour, Matt. I wanted to hear
wish that I had a second can?
Oh, no problem. Can we do it again?
Hey guys, welcome to Laser Everything, where we bow to no sponsors.
Except our great Georgian god.
Yeah, that's all. No problem, though. And then there's the sacrilegious Kyle, you piece of human waste.
Who's this guy? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Laser Source Podcast, the number one podcast if you're having performance issues. We're here to help. We've got your back, and we're gonna get your issues fixed. It's a Q&A day today. I've got the normal crew with me. Boyce 10.0, dude, you should be at like 12.
Oh,
you're doing one an episode.
I forgot to change that.
It's 10, bro. You messed it up.
Fair enough.
Kyle's here. Hey, Kyle.
What up?
Jimmy, as always.
What's shaking?
Was shaking bacon, and Matt Botiford.
You're fantastic.
And of course, joining us again, Michael Mullins from Laser Engraving 911. If you still haven't subscribed by some freak accident, there is a link to Michael's channel in the description and on our channel's homepage. Just a little bit of housekeeping really quick. I'm not going to talk about this a lot, just like Emergency Stop, which I mention constantly, emergencystop.net. But I did a thing over the weekend, and I'm proud of it. And most of you guys aren't going to care, and that's okay. I totally understand that. But a couple of you might, and so I'm going to shout it out because I have an audience, so I'm going to take advantage of it. So here is YouTube really quick, guys. And what's this? Ooh, a new channel. It's me. It's the Pokemon Archivist, guys. And
yes.
I'm doing like Pokemon unboxings. We're opening Pokemon cards. We're doing some sick polls. It's tight. So I've been recording episodes of this at like 4 a.m. when like all of my laser stuff is done and I still don't want to go to bed. And so I've just been getting like sick boxes of like Pokemon cards, and we've been like doing like fresh unpacks and pulling like vintage cards and stuff. If you're interested in that at all, you can just search at Pokemon Archivist on YouTube and it'll come up. I just thought I'd throw that out there, just sharing it. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Again, I know most of you guys are probably not going to be interested in that, but it's something I've been doing with what very little free time I do have. So check that out. Eric Sawyer says Emergency Stop is kick ass. It's pretty damn good show.
It is.
It's a pretty damn good show. We just released our 6th episode of Emergency Stop titled Tigger. It's a very good show. Ask me why it's titled Tigger. And
Alex, don't go the hole.
I'm sorry. And you can check that out again over at emergencystop.net. It's a really good time. We still have to have you on there, Michael. I'd really like to have you over there as a guest at some point, because
I'm gonna dip in.
You'd really enjoy it, especially because my wife says it's disgusting. Don't listen to it, which means it's great, and you absolutely should listen to it.
By the way, she's on it sometimes.
Yeah, she's on it fairly regularly, and she's pretty disgusting on it when she is on it. So if you want to hear Miranda talk more, last time, emergencystop.net, Pokemon Archivist. Okay, that's it from my little pre-show plugs here. But what's going on, everybody? We've had a huge number of people waiting for this episode to launch today. I don't think we've ever had, was it 24? We saw
45 people in here now.
And then we've got 45 people live right now. Wow,
yeah.
That is a lot of people for the live version of the podcast. I see Anka is here, and Jack in the Shop, Willie Sims, hitting us with that $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Willie.
Willie, right up
Appreciate
the
that, man. Nice and early. And Vince Nobucks, I believe, was first today. Showed up like right at 6 p.m. when I posted the stream was going live. So Vince has just been hanging and waiting for this with bated breath. And Danny Dangerous, what a sick name. Danny says, "Yup, lasers got me down. The decision between Thunder Nova 24 and Eon Mira 7 Pro 60 watt is a very difficult choice with laser thin distinctions."
I get it.
I see where you're going.
So I can actually touch on this a little bit. The Thunder machines, when it comes to CO2 gantry lasers, typically have larger chassis, right? So the mirror is really great for people that need a small footprint, especially vertically. But the Thunders are just kind of like big open boxes. So you're going to get more Z depth. I believe they have pass-through panels on like all four sides. So if that's important to you, I'd go with the Thunder. If it's not, then I'd probably go with the Eon.
So the Thunder gets it up.
The Thunder gets it up and down. You know what I mean? It goes both ways. Yeah.
Four heads.
Just depends on what you need. Yeah, exactly.
Going to town.
I just thought I'd toss it in there. Also, shout out to Anthony.
Hey.
Either one would probably have you beaming with joy.
Oh, God.
Nobody. Come on. Nobody.
I love the
dropped from
puns.
45 down to like 12.
Nobody asked for that. Yeah, I know exactly. Everybody's like out. George Kenner, what is going on? Welcome. Glad you could be here live. Army Dogs Creations. I never get to shout out people when we do like serious episodes of the podcast, so I like just taking a second to acknowledge you guys. Cody Barron is here. Love Blonde Fox Creations. Just a huge list of people today, guys.
Really, so many people.
Yeah, seriously. I see Crystal. I'm assuming Riley Black. Designs, Riley Black Project. If you guys haven't listened to that episode of the Laser Source podcast, go check that out. They are the best laser podcast on the internet, Riley Black Project. So make sure you search for that right there, Riley Black, and make sure you guys give that podcast a listen because it's very, very good. And longtime listener Chris King joining us. Gary is here. J Mac is here kicking it. So lots and lots of people here today, guys. We've got all the time in the world, and we're ready to kick back and help you out.
I'd like to kick it off. The first question I know the answer to.
Do it.
Is the show geared toward men? Is what Laser of Love Creation is asking about Emergency Stop. The answer is it is geared toward degenerates. Right?
Yeah.
So really, if you ever have looked at yourself in the mirror and been like, why am I the way I am? This is the show for you.
Yeah, we spent so on the 6th episode. Don't start on the 6th episode because I go out of my way to talk shit about people who start on the 6th episode. But in the 6th episode, we spent about 45 minutes talking about our preferred vomiting position. So,
and sounds.
Yeah, and sounds that are made during that activity. So you know,
there's also profanity. So if you're sensitive to that, or
there's a lot of
you have kids around, it's probably not a good time to listen to it.
I don't curse.
It's great for rides. It's great for rides to work. It's great for shop background audio, as long as you don't have a kid near you. You know,
especially while you're
shop
got a
talk.
really loud, especially if you've got like a really loud compressor going, you don't want to hear what's in the background. Perfect for that.
Excellent. Yeah, precisely. And Cody Barron is chiming in. Been listening to the Riley Black Project since she was on a few weeks ago. It's great. It is. It's really, really good, guys. So make sure you go listen to it. I think they have like 85, 86. No, they must be in the 90s. I think they were at 84 when we did our podcast recording. So they've got to be up.
They have a lot of episodes to dig through.
Yeah, it's a lot of episodes, and
good stuff.
Definitely want to check that out. Also, Riley Black, Crystal. I'm still assuming Crystal is asking, how do John and I get on eStop? Send me a message on Facebook. We record on Thursdays. We'll talk, and we'll definitely get you. We'll definitely get you on. 96 episodes. She confirms, which is again huge, almost 100 episodes of the Riley Black Project. You'd be a great guest on there, Michael. We need to get
a lot of episodes of awesome.
Well, you've definitely sparked my interest now. Now I'm gonna head as soon as we're done here. I'm gonna head on over. I want to listen to some of these episodes.
It's super chill. They have like they have like the dopest recording setup. So John and Crystal sit at this big table and everything is black and red. They have like a whole set built. And they sit at like opposite ends of the table and they just like hang out fucking
Like coffee talk.
Yeah, dude. Like crazy. I don't even know. It's
awesome.
really good. It's really good. Oh,
Maybe
and,
episode
Crystal says
100?
Come on in. So
Episode 100. It's not too far around the corner.
It's not, dude. It's not.
Laser 911.
Crystal saying you're more than welcome to join them over there, dude. You should definitely
Sweet.
take them up on that. It's a good time.
Sweet.
But anyway, guys, we're going to talk about lasers. First thing I need to acknowledge, Boyce, with the new camera angle you got going on, the lighting, looking preem. You got the exhaust stuff. It looks like it's coming along.
I brought my laser.
You got your laser?
I just got to stick it out that window.
Hell yeah. Did you get a fan yet?
Oh yeah, I have the exhaust fan down there.
Nice. Is
That's
that
a
just
good exhaust fan.
like a standard inline or is it a centrifuge? Yeah.
No, just standard inline. I might get a centrifuge. This fucker is loud,
Yeah, sure.
and it's right up against a brick wall, so it's like it's pretty.
Is
loud.
the only thing that's exhausting the fiber?
Yes.
Yeah, you're not hooking the mirror up to that.
No, the mirror's the other end of the house.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
I have a perfect project for you, boys.
I'm in.
I have a perfect project for you, boys.
Yeah.
Got to make you some sound baffles to hang on that brick behind you.
That's true.
That way, when you're running the high frequency fan, it doesn't like just bounce the sound through the room.
Yeah, ridiculously.
Is the mirror eventually going to come downstairs, or is it staying where it is?
No, the mirror. That's home. We're not moving that big old bastard ever again. Now, now this spot right
It's
here.
called Jimmy, by the way. Jimmy will lift it and move it downstairs, no problem.
Jimmy will grab onto it with two hands and then go, Kyle.
So I'm gonna move this.
Kyle.
I'm gonna put a second table back here, and I'm gonna put this is a spot I'm saving for the UV.
Nice.
That's my next.
Oh, so sexy.
I can't wait. That's my last thing I want to get.
Love is asking, question for you: where can I find a LightBurn Bridge kit? LightBurn is sold out, and I desire to go work with the Mac. I don't think that there's a
Sold
market.
out.
They haven't been able to get them in stock because they are made from Raspberry Pis, and Raspberry Pis are very short in stock right now. They're very hard to get your hands on.
Plus price.
You can make your own. You can make your own. There's actually instructions in the LightBurn forums on how to make one. Maybe one day I'll make one if I can ever find a Raspberry Pi.
Still going to require you to find a Raspberry Pi, right?
You need to find the Raspberry Pi. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the problem. The other piece of that is the LightBurn Bridge Kit will not work with a Galvo. So if you're trying to do it with a Galvo, don't bother. It's too much latency.
Cool. And Jennifer Y is here. What's up, Jennifer? Saying, I make jewelry and hand stamp on metal, mostly stainless steel and aluminum. I would like to branch out and engrave some leather, slate, mirrors, etc. What would you suggest for metal, leather, and slate? You are perfectly describing the fiber laser. All of those needs can be met with a fiber laser very, very easily. Have you done leather and slate on your fiber yet, Michael?
I have. Yep.
Yeah. Good experiences with that.
Yeah, especially you know what works really cool too is the leatherette. You know, leatherette's really nice, but dark leather works good as well. You know.
Yeah.
Wet it first, by the way, for people. That's just a tip for you. Like just a little bit of dampness on there will take it down. Ooh, there you go, Kyle.
Yeah. The super light veg tan raw leather is kind of difficult to work with.
The darker the better.
The darker the leather, the better. So
yeah.
I was going to mention, Kyle, your little project there. So Kyle recently did a video on risers to get your Galvo tower higher up off of your work bed so you can use larger lenses. And to demonstrate the usefulness of that, he actually did a project mark, like cylinder correction around leatherette and was able to actually wrap around the leatherette without rotating the tumbler at all. Can you throw that up again? That gold one's particularly impressive.
So that's like
no rotation.
So here's the reason why I needed the riser. My 300 millimeter lens gives me a focal distance of 463 millimeters. So on a 500 millimeter tower, that gives me 37 millimeters to play with, which puts me to like right here on the cup.
Yeah.
Barely.
From the other side.
Yeah.
So like the entire mark would be out of focus, essentially.
Yep.
In ranges of worsening degree. So
I literally have to do my projector mark on my little Legos, low profile.
The Lego jig, man. Can't beat it. Can't beat it.
Yeah.
And chat's bumping, so I want to keep going here. James Miller, this question is for you, Matt. Hello, guys from Arkansas. Matt, I see your boss back there, and I have a 36 by 55 coming next week. Is there anything I need to watch out for?
Not really. I mean, basically follow the instructions with your video. I bought mine used, by the way. So basically the great thing was the links are up there. Even if you can't find it, like in your booklet, the information, you can go online and they've got the setup videos. I literally just did plug and play on mine. I got the computer, I had LightBurn already ready to go because I had learned on my previous machine that was the small guy. Make sure get a nice compressor would be the best thing, because if you're trying to do cuts, get yourself spend $200 to $500 on a compressor, because it will save you so much material. You'll be in love, right? I don't know what power you've got, but definitely the higher power, like what do I have? The little 5-gallon California Air Tools is awesome. It's so quiet. It's actually been going while we've been recording before, and nobody really noticed except Boyce, who has like super hearing. And other than that, I mean, just make sure you have good exhaust. So basically the best thing I could do would be clear the space, set up your exhaust, which is super, super important. And then just get yourself some good air and you'll be ready to rock and roll, man.
So like
just follow the instructions.
The last 2 weeks we've talked about this on the podcast. The laundry list when you buy like an Optic, where does Boss stand as far as like that stuff in stock lenses, mirrors, hose clamps, things like that?
Everything you just said this is an industrial grade laser. So the 3655 is their biggest LS, because the HP is the one that cuts metal. So it's their biggest borderline industrial machine. So it's definitely past like the 2440 and the 3655 are definitely their big boys. My guess is he's probably using it for cutting if you're getting something that big, because otherwise, what, right?
Right.
So it's got a beam combiner. It's got the air supply goes right through the nozzle. That's why I was saying make sure you get the air supply and make sure you've got the LightBurn and know how to click on air supply on and off, because you can do it right there from LightBurn, which is awesome.
Yep.
If he just ordered it, has the hybrid servo motors, which is phenomenal. I wish I had them. It's probably the one thing that I would get rid of this one and upgrade for, but this is just my cutting monster, so it doesn't have to go real fast. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, like it's really, if there's medium, like middle of the road, and then there's just like Thunder, if we call Thunder our tippy top, I'd say it's probably just below Thunder. But actually, I know, Michael, didn't you have the chart that says Boss actually engraves a little bit faster?
A little bit faster, yeah. And I think the new hybrids and stuff are probably even faster than that now,
Yeah. So I'd say it's like the top 3 brands that you could buy, besides Epilogue, which is like, up there.
Chill.
Trotec and stuff. So you got a good purchase. The other thing too is make sure that as soon as you get there, that you take pictures of everything just in case, because then you can communicate with Boss. They're really good about, but they need visuals. So if you're like, hey, this isn't working, when I plugged it in, it should be working. They ask you to take pictures and communicate through visuals, because otherwise that's it, right? So they're on site. They're in the States. They're over here in Florida, about an hour from me. So I like them.
Cool.
Another factor when you expect it to get delivered, make sure you have a way to get it into your house or garage or workspace, because that's a big son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Dude, no joke. That is a monster.
Yeah.
And however big you're imagining it in your head right now,
add several inches.
Add some to it, and some more lopsidedness and
they're not
top
wrong.
Heaviness.
This machine
right on the other side of your garage door too.
No, but because whenever I have anything I need to work on, so I've installed a few things. I've changed out some of the fans. I've put in LEDs, by the way, which that's one of the first things I would tell you to upgrade. Buy a string of LEDs and you can wire them in your workspace. I also took a drill, and this is where some people be like, sacrilege. I took a drill and along the bed frame. So like if this is the bed frame on the outside where the gantry stops, so outside of my 300 by or 600 by 900, there's basically the metal stoppage. I took drill and I put holes in it this way and put holes in it this way, and actually took a piece of 1/4 inch acrylic and made myself a stop gap. So literally, if I'm doing boards, I can slide them to there, and it just stops. And so now I know it's level. I always just so I'm not a good person. But what I was gonna say is this looks like it stops here. It actually goes all the way to the wall. It's like another 1.5 feet.
Yeah.
So Michael's not wrong. It's so big.
Love is following up with us. Kyle, I have the Mira 7, so they're looking to do gantry. So I feel like it's a good match with the Raspberry Pi. And then Willie Sims is chiming in. Amazon has the Pi in stock.
Oh, nice.
So
one thing I'll add.
Mhm.
Doesn't the Nova 7 come with Wi-Fi connectivity already?
It does. Yeah. So they have their own LightBurn. That's a very good point. They have their own LightBurn Bridge kind of built in. And it's fairly easy to set up. I did it while I was doing my review. I don't have the instructions off the top of my head, but I'm sure that they have it in their documentation on their website. So they kind of already have that feature built in. So it'll talk wirelessly with LightBurn. It's just their version of it, but it does the same exact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Save the $150 or whatever it is.
Yep. Very
just,
true.
Just use theirs.
Scrav is asking, what's your opinion about diode 10 watt and plus engraving directly stainless steel? Will the module get damaged? Regards from Portugal. I did a butt ton of steel during my X-Tool D1 Pro review with that 10 watt module, and I didn't hurt the laser. I'm not particularly concerned about flashback on diodes in the first place, but then on top of that, steel, you should be good. I did it for a number of hours, very, very slowly, and it was fine.
The focal distance on diodes is so short, and they're for the most part fixed distance. So as long as you're in focus and you're not like taking the guard off and sticking the laser right up against the metal, you should be fine.
Yeah. So you should be fine. And if you want some examples of how we annealed metal with the diode laser, you can check out again that X-Tool D1 Pro review. We do it quite a bit. Also the off-ferro laser 1 review we did for Ortur, we did the same thing with a 5 watt module, and we were actually able to pull it off. So either way, I would say you're probably good with that. Mark Hathaway is next. I'm moving across the country with my Mactron 30 watt fiber. Can I safely disconnect the umbilical, or will I totally regret doing that? Any tips to safely move the equipment? No, hard no. Do not.
Don't do it.
So the way that fiber lasers work, inside the box, the actual box, there's your laser source, and inside that laser source is a bunch of really, really tightly coiled fiber optic cable. And that fiber optic cable runs all the way out through that machine, out through the cord that runs up along the back, and then through the laser path, all the way to the emitter. That's literally all one piece. It never changes. There's no port that connects them. It's all one piece. And that's why if anything bad ever happens to the umbilical cord, as you call it, that the whole source is ruined because it's one piece of glass. So do not, in any circumstance, ever try to disconnect that. Absolutely leave that alone. And then as far as packing, Michael, you moved from California to Georgia with a fiber laser. What did you do to prepare for that?
That's a great question. That's funny. I was thinking about that a few minutes ago. So what I did was I kept everything, the laser source and everything together. I cranked down all the way down the Z-axis to as low as it would go, put some foam so it didn't crunch, put the lens cap on, and basically just kind of kept them separated so they wouldn't crash, the brains won't crash into the laser head, and just lots of foam. And don't leave the head all the way up as high as it'll go. Get everything as compact as you can.
Low center of gravity.
Low center of gravity, and just keep it in its own little corner with lots of pillows, and keep everything else away from that umbilical cord, as you call it.
Did you use any kind of container or like, method to like box it away from the other items that you were moving with? Or was it literally just out and fluffed?
Yeah, I think it was fluffed and in a corner where it wouldn't get jostled. And I have a really, just really quick, when I finally got to my destination, which is where I'm at now, everything in my business was in the largest U-Haul tow trailer that you could get for a truck, right? So it's one of those trailers. I'm talking the epilogue. I'm talking the fiber. I'm talking tool chests. I'm talking. I got on the weight scale and I was still under just right at the. So, anyways, but I have a driveway that's a 14% grade.
Yeah,
and I didn't think about that. So I got the neighbor to help me back down this driveway to my garage, and literally, all I did was slide down with the brakes locked. Like I was no controlling it. My whole company was in this trailer, and I'm sliding down the driveway, and he's just watching me.
That's some anxiety right there.
He's backing up a guy with a sled attached to his truck. Basically, there was no control.
My butthole is sweating hearing this.
Did he know?
I made the turn. I made the turn at the last minute, and the car everything just stopped. And he was just like, "Dude, I got to go back across the street. Thank you. Glad I could help you out."
Did he know that you were not in control of the vehicle?
He had no idea. It was just everything was just skidding down the driveway.
Yeah,
Michael just arrives at the bottom like. So it's just like in a pose.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Don't be a Michael.
Oh my God! That's
after a brief change and a couple of beers later, you were ready to unload, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like this hand.
Okay, Cody Barron says, "Has anyone had success releveling a gantry? I'm having to shim the tube a bit to hit center on the second mirror. I'd rather have the tube and gantry equally level than match an awkward angle." I have not done that. But what I do know is that they sell clamps for the tubes that actually have like Z adjustments.
Risers.
So you can, so they rise individually rather than, just I put my two clamps in there and then they are where they are and you have to shim it if it's not level. So if your tube isn't level with the gantry, rather than mess with the gantry, my suggestion would be to pop on Amazon or whatever, Cloud Ray.
I'm getting a link.
Yeah, thank you. Kyle's getting a link for you. Find the clamps that will level independently. They actually have just little twisties on them. Yep, there's a great example of them right there. Jimmy's got them.
How the hell do you have that sitting by you, buddy?
Have you actually used that yet, Jimmy, or no?
No, I got to put these on, actually. That's the one video I'm going to do because mine's not center either.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, it's never has been.
Yeah.
Hey, bring that up again, Jimmy, so they can get a good look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hold that right up to the camera for us?
There it is.
Yep.
Talk about timing, dude. What a great,
Yep.
Way to go, Jimmy.
The knob there is actually shifting that entire inner assembly up and down. And that will allow you to make independent adjustments.
And it's slotted.
Yep. It's really cool.
Yeah, so you can slide it forward and aft if you have to.
I need to slot.
Yeah.
I need to slot and I need to go up actually. So
did you just grab that from? Is that just a Cloud Ray pickup, or did you end up picking that up?
I don't remember now. I got it from.
I think it's a Cloud Ray.
The only time those won't work, the only disadvantage of those particular ones is that they do start at kind of like a very natural high angle, right? So you're already starting really high. So if you don't have a lot of depth to play with and your tube is sitting like right on the bare metal, you may find that the rest of your components in your machine also have to come up to be able to match the height of something like that. So just something to be aware of. I've seen cheap Chinese machines both ways. Some of them, the tube is literally sitting right on the chassis, and some of them, the tube is up like 2 inches. And it just kind of depends.
I actually had cardboard under mine at one time to try to get it to where it was, and I said, I think there's one piece in it left, and I just don't like it, and I still can't get it exactly center.
Yeah.
So
pain in the ass, but when you get it, it's like chef's kiss.
This will do it. This will do it.
Perfect.
These will do it.
Perfect. Let's see. Where were we? Blonde Fox. how long do you think it will be before all the laser manufacturers will come out with their own version of the new Gwicky RF? And do you think it's worth the extra $1,400 for the RF over the CO2? So RF tubes are still CO2 tubes. They're just not made of glass. They're still charged with CO2. And they still die over time like glass CO2s. So they're not that different. But generally, I think the rule of thumb and the consensus in the laser community is RF tubes generally offer better beam quality for engraving, whereas DC glass CO2 tubes offer better performance for cutting, where like direct raw power is needed. So if you're trying to cut things and you plan on cutting regularly, go with the glass tube. If you are planning on doing a lot of fine detail work, really nice marking of items, go with the RF tube. I see you nodding, Michael. Do you generally agree with that?
I do. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. You're absolutely right. I do a lot more engraving than cutting, a lot of detail work, and those RF tubes and those two machines they're really nice. And there's no chiller ever with those. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's nice.
It's not uncommon for some shops to have a dedicated cutting machine, like 100 or 150 watt, and then a dedicated engraving machine, which with like a 40 watt RF tube or something.
Yeah.
So you can also go that route. There's also combined or dual source systems with a single head with a beam combiner in between.
Yeah.
There's a lot of routes you can go depending on what your needs are.
If you check out, I think the APA Expo episode from last year, we saw a couple of machines like that have a glass tube and an RF tube that you can switch back and forth between.
That's cool.
Kind of just like set up that way, and you buy them that way. And you could even go as far as to program in what like layers you wanted to use the glass tube and what layers you wanted to use the RF tube.
Cool.
It's pretty neat. Pretty neat. So we saw some cool stuff over there, proprietary software, obviously. So who knows like what controller they were using and stuff. If you want to see more details, go check out that episode. But there's a lot out there for that reason. So they are very different. And I know I say this over and over again on the podcast, but they're different tools for different jobs. And
I believe you can send them out to have them recharged.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well. Yep.
Yeah, and they hold the
you can totally get them refurbished.
Typically than the glass tubes too, which is great too. Let's see. Let it run. Yeah. Okay. So Willie Sims is saying, I put a box on the table, strapped the box to the table, and then just made sure you don't let anything rub against the umbilical cord. That's the trick, right? Is not letting anything actually like mess up that transmission line. Protecting the laser and the source is easy enough, but actually like protecting that transmission line is going to be.
I'd honestly use like 2x4s and build like a little something to just keep it level, and because that's how it comes when you get them from China. They're literally coiled.
Yeah.
Very like I look at it and I'm like, this is so precarious, and I have to lift it out of the box, and I'm like,
I mean, like
so that could be something.
At the end of the day, if you're really, really worried about it, like build a crate. Yeah. Get a pallet, build a crate.
4x8.
Another thing you can do is remove it off the tower. It gives you some flexibility in where you can place the laser path in the head. So you can strategically place the cable and the laser path in the head. So like if you're bolting it down to a table or something like that, you could theoretically just drill a couple holes in like a 2x10.
I mean, if you're going
mount the path to that and strap it down to the table.
The tower is only 4 machine screws, and you just pull the tower too while you're at it. You know what I mean? And kind of flat pack the thing, and that could be an effective way to move it.
Honestly, the crate might be the most effective way to just really protect it, like a sheet of 4x8.
Yeah.
And I want to add one thing that I just thought of, and I know that we have some new users on here that maybe have never looked inside the cable shroud to see like what is in that cable. I know this is going to sound super basic, but trust me, hear me out. Don't ever bend that thing or wrap it up like you would an extension cord, thinking that makes it more compact for transport. It wants to be free floating. It does not want to be bent or curled or wound up or anything like that. Can also destroy the cable. And I just wanted to add that too.
Yeah, it's literally a glass cable.
Yeah.
So it's got
Fiber.
some flexibility, but it's also rigid. So you can't just fork the thing into a 90-degree angle.
It's like spaghetti.
Don't do the opposite either. Don't force it too straight. Like Michael said, he chose his words very specifically. He said, like, let it go where it wants to go.
Let it go where it wants to go.
As you're dropping it, it'll coil itself is basically what it does. And that's where it goes.
Yeah. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Just leave it alone. That's why when we're actually reviewing fiber lasers, one of the first things we check is we open the case where the source is and we see what they've done with the excess fiber optic cable. Some companies will wrap them up in a super tight coil and zip tie them like that inside the machine. Shit. Yeah, and others will like use the entire inside of the machine to do soft curves around the outside. We definitely judge people on that when we get equipment for review. Nice. So you really just definitely great point, Michael. Really glad that you.
I wish I could have snapshotted Michael's face while you explained that. He just went. Teeth.
Tara Lynch, the butt pucker, is asking, I just got my fiber laser with intent to engrave chef knives, etc., but I'm seeing in groups that they can rust easily. How do you deal with that?
I did a bunch.
Michael, the last time you were on, we talked about this a little bit because you were working on that surgical equipment that absolutely could not be ablated. The long story short, the short answer here is if you are demarking correctly, it will not rust, right? If it's rusting, you're ablating the metal somehow. Yeah. You are causing some kind of pitting in the surface of that steel that's allowing moisture to collect in those little microscopic pits, and that is what's leading you to rust. If you're doing a true Z-mark, you are not affecting the integrity of the surface of that steel, and we have a great video on that.
You don't want to see any sparks.
You want to see it's just a glow.
It's dead silent.
Glow. It should be dead silent, and you should literally not be able to feel it with your finger. And close your eyes and run your finger over the top of it. If you can feel anything, then it's not correct. It needs to feel like literally part of the existing blade. And worst case scenario, you can grab a microscope. Look at it under a little USB microscope. We have a great video that's loaded with a couple reviews on ones that we like to use around here at Laser Everything. And look, because if you physically look with your eyes, you can see whether or not you're ablating the steel. Do you have any opinions about that, Michael? Because I know you're big on that too, and you've been doing it a lot recently.
Yeah, I was remembering, I think we were reading you and I, when we worked together, I think we were reading some article, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when you're heating the surface of the metal, what you're actually doing to get that black mark is you're bringing kind of carbon to the surface rather than removing material, or somehow it has something to do with carbon coming to the surface of the steel, which is, black. It's like you're bringing stuff, kind of drawing it up rather than taking it away. But yeah, I mean, that's the way to go on any kind of chef knives that I do. Any kind of instruments that are going to be washed or used like that, knives or whatever, I always do a black Z mark, we call it, or an anneal mark, so I don't take away any material. And plus, you don't want food and little bits of chicken guts getting inside the engraving. Even though it looks cool, you still got to get all that stuff out of there too.
Yeah, exactly. So cool for firearms and show knives, but not cool for chef knives and things that are actually going to be utilized on a daily basis.
Exactly.
Again, or in a human body.
We have it's a very old video, but it's still accurate and it still has good instructions in it. I stand by this video. Look it up. It's the Z marking of steel. It's a video on Laser Everything here on the channel. And you can check that out. That's the direction I would point you for that. Big H, what's up, man? It's good to see you back. Alan here from LA, Lower Alabama. Thanks for all that you do. So on a recent LA podcast that our friend Kyle is going to build a CO2 gantry with a Trosen controller. What's the schedule?
Eventually. There's a long list of stuff, projects that are existing already. So the raw truth of the matter is I want to try and handle some existing things before I start adding more on top of it, right? So we have a couple of machine reviews in terms of like the UV Galvo I've had now for oh God, I think it's going on 6 months.
Christmas,
Yeah. We have the 100-watt fiber, which I got right after that, same week. We have the 30-watt Rakis.
Yep.
We have the 20-watt, which I don't know if it warrants a review because it's a pre-production unit, so nobody is ever going to get the same thing as me, but maybe an episode on fixing it so it's
general
not
idea.
pre-production-y.
A light overview of a pre-production model. A quickie.
Yes.
For
Very
those of
quick.
you who are being brought down by your laser.
And then you have the LightBurn for gantry crash course on your shoulders as well.
LightBurn for gantry crash course. I do have a couple diodes I need to mess with and touch on a little bit.
But yeah,
Kyle, you're on your
we'll get
toes
there.
at
It's
this
just
point.
it's so much.
If you want to see our to-do list, go actually again. I'm going to refer you guys to another episode. Go check out the episode we did 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's like a year in review or whatever, and we actually have like a roadmap of all of the stuff that we want to accomplish on the channel in 2023. It's a little ridiculous, but the build project is on there. I know it's something that Kyle's really excited to do. Once we're done playing catch up from 2022, we can start on our 2023 list, and I know that's at the top of his, so we should hopefully see that sooner than later. How many guys of you have like really played with a lot of the rotaries on the market?
I just did a video.
Oh, you just did a video on it. Okay, well, can you talk briefly about rotary tools? Is there a great one to get, or do you need different rotaries for different jobs?
So that's a good question. By the way, I know, Michael, you probably used it a bunch, right?
In the CO2?
Yeah, CO2 and in the fiber or in the gantries.
Not so much in the fiber, but the rotaries that come with the 2 CO2s I use all week long. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
rim drive.
I currently have so the machine that I bought came with a Rotoboss, so that's where my information comes from. So the Rotoboss that I have is literally the video that I just did. I went to Rotoboss to buy this guy. Oop, wait, there you go, right there. Which is the low roller for the Galvo machines, and it's awesome. I was gonna like show you guys. I just made this guy last night. Want to see that?
Nice.
Oh, here we go. Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and then I can't find the other one. I think I gave it to somebody as like, so literally I made this, and it's nothing crazy. I mean, it's just a glass, but the thing is I have a 5-watt UV, which basically cannot really, the depth of field on it is so shallow that you can't do as project mark. So basically this made this in about 1 minute and 45 seconds, and it's about 2.5 inches by 1.25 inches tall. Yep. So 1.5 minutes for a cup that's going to make you a few bucks is awesome. And you can kind of actually, let me see if I can change cameras. Well, I'll do it while Michael's talking.
So is this a rim drive for your UV? Is that basically what we're
so it's the standard, right? So it's a standard 4-pin roller rotary that you would have in the Boss. And they made it for smaller machines. So like the LS063, which is the Boss that I had originally, would have run something very similar to this. It's got a very low profile, which is awesome. So if you're somebody if you're looking for a rotary for your low tower, this thing is awesome because literally you can run it on your 500 millimeter tower, no problem. So that's what I've got rocking over here is I've got the 700 millimeter tower, and it just rolls stuff out so quick. So that's awesome. Made of pure metal, or not pure metal, but it's made of metal. And it actually has little feet that come with it. You can slot it down and like move it around to where you need. So it's really, I think this is a super awesome tool. Like I'm really excited to have it. And actually what's really cool is I literally took a picture. I sent the picture to Kyle last night. I filled this with a beer right after I made it and then sent it to the guy who owns the brewery. And I was like, hey man, I know you're opening your brewery in a couple months. Here's something I made to have a beer with. And he was like, oh, that's cool as shit. Like send me your info. So awesome. Like now we're talking about doing an order. And then same thing for the big boy. Like I just have the Rotoboss 1.0. And so the video is coming out where it talks all about it. So I'll kind of shut up about it and let Michael say what he thinks.
Basically, yeah. I mean, there's 2 types of rotaries. There's the chuck rotaries, which are sometimes an option for some of these CO2 machines, which,
That's when you're grabbing something from the outside.
Yes, thank you.
And rotating it.
So it's got the jaws, it clamps on, or it squeezes something together. I've seen on Trotec they have the different attachments where you can squeeze your object together and hold it that way. And then the rim drive, there you go. There's that.
The rotary would be here.
Go. So Alex is holding a rim drive. Kyle's got that's a rotary with some kind of squeezing attachment. I guess it's a chuck drive. And then he's got a Voice 10.0 has a chuck drive over there. So there you go. Those are the different kinds of drives. And then Matt's got his shallow rim drive there.
So there you go.
Most of the time, you're going to be okay with just a rim drive for a CO2 laser.
Yep, and they're literally just driven by a stepper motor. And the really nice thing about them is, there Alex has the big boys. Basically, the biggest problem is figuring out your steps, which most manufacturers will actually have ready for you with information. The one that I bought, you can actually see the QR code that you scan, and it literally walks you through setup. Pretty straightforward. So there you go.
And we have this is the LightBurn, the Rotoboss's main competitor. Here's the Rotoboss. This is the Junior 2.0, which is kind of like the successor to the one that Matt has on his machine over there.
All of these are in the video.
Should be nice and low profile. And then finally here for the budget needs, the budget users, the Mansfield, another great rotary. And we're going to be throwing all three of these in the Ranger and testing them all out. So if you're not in a rush, you can hang out and wait for that video. There is, I can just tell you right now, spoilers, whether you're going to watch this episode or not, oh dear. No gets upset. All three of these are great rotaries. They're all really really good.
Spoiler.
There's not a bad one between them. So,
and I just received the Eons multi roller for the Mira. So I'm taking a class on that next week, and then I'm probably gonna do a video of the multi roller.
The one thing I would say too is think about the product. So before you go drop, because these are not cheap. If you're looking at the Rotoboss and you're looking at the LightBurn, they're not cheap. They're tools. No. And you can watch the videos that we've had both manufacturers, like the actual creators and manufacturers of them on the show.
Yep, we've had Jason Rife on. We've had Stan on. I want to have Jason number 2 on for the Mansfield too. Yeah.
And that's what I was going to tell you guys is they're not cheap. So do your research. If you do have a Thunder, by the way, you do have to buy through Thunder, I think, because they've got a system set up for it. But it's one of those things where if you're talking about value versus cost, the value of that tool is so immense because it's just a field that will make you lots of money. And so I know not everybody's in it for money, but why wouldn't you have that
It also opens up possibilities for you that would otherwise be closed.
Right, and that gets your foot in the door to do other stuff and meet other people, and it's super useful. So, but make sure you get the right one for the job and the things you're going to do.
Audibly, we are running out of time, so I want to keep us moving here. Jennifer Y saying, any brand you suggest for the fiber laser for the metal, leather, and slate? Price range willing to pay $3,000 to $5,000, but would I have to pay that high for what I want to use it for? Yes. Don't spend less than $3,000 on a fiber laser.
You can get a really good 30 to 50 watt range machine for that price.
And
be perfectly good. As
Boyce is happily pointing out for us, we have a buying guide. There's a ton of stuff listed in the buying guide. 95% of it, either Kyle or I or Matt or Boyce or somebody has had their hands on and used and tested. So it's all stuff. It's not just affiliate links for the sake of affiliate links. The buying guide is tested things that we physically had our hands on, used in and around our shops for an extended period of time. You can't go wrong. Check out all of the options on the buying guide. There's multiple different brands of fiber lasers. We don't have any brand loyalty over here. We try to share everything that we interact with during our time here on the channel. So there's a ton of different options and manufacturers and vendors and machine types, lots and lots to go through. Check out some of these machines. It's the stuff that, again, we've had our hands on and we've had the opportunity to use. And that's going to be the stuff that I would point you to and see if. And again, there should be quite a few things in this list that should meet your needs. Most of these items also have reviews on the channel. So if you see something you're interested in, it's in your price range, check the channel, because we've usually reviewed at least one model of one of these brands of machines here on the buying guide. So that's definitely.
I have a question for you guys.
Yep.
What would you recommend? Because this is always the question I will get asked initially. What company, and then what wattage should I get? So what do you think? Just give me a number. Alex.
You know me, I'm Mr. Ritz. I like my expensive Mactrons. They're the most expensive Chinese laser on the market, but it's like.
Oh, I meant wattage.
Oh, just wattage?
Yeah, just wattage.
Oh,
I'm saying 50.
You without any context or information about what?
Yeah, like if people so basically just your general middle of the road number, because that's usually what people ask for. I want to do everything.
LP plus 50 watt.
50 watt.
50 watt.
Kyle.
I started with a 60 watt, and I can tell you, at least for me, it was more than what I needed for a lot of materials. So I would say if you feel like you're doing not a ton of metal, or at least not a ton of copper, bronzy type stuff, you could probably get away with a 30 comfortably. Ooh, if you're doing harder materials, I would say a 50 watt should take care of you.
The channel was built on a 30 watt laser.
Yep.
Yeah.
So never forget, before we had all of our fancy tools here, we had the 30 watt GPTLP from Mactron there.
And that's right in the number she wants to spend too.
Yep, $3,600 there. You're going to pay shipping on that. It's going to be $1,000, so it's going to be $46, and then you're going to pay tariffs on it, probably another $500 to $1,000. So it'll be a little bit above your budget. But again, I was saying as an incorrect answer to Matt's question. I really like the Mactrons. It's the most expensive of the Chinese fiber lasers, but it's a Chinese fiber laser, so you're only paying 10% of what you'd be paying if you got like an American-made one anyway. I think those G2s or whatever from Epilogue, the G7s, are still like 70.
Dude, nobody talks about those anymore. Epilogue just kind of like swept that in their back. In their backyard.
You'd be getting. Would a 50 watt be enough to cut through Michael's beard?
No.
Maybe it's
no, definitely not.
Fiber's not the right wavelength.
It's too majestic.
Well, can I just say you'd need a MOPA so that way you could just tickle it?
And I've got steel wire in there too. So
I really like to see. I don't want to remove Michael's beard, but I'd like to bleach it white. You know what I mean? With like a whitening pass.
Santa Claus Michael.
I love how he's like, I don't want to take off his hair. I just want to make him look real white trashy.
Yeah.
It's like, Michael, your outfit's great. Just get rid of that T-shirt under the hoodie and let that chest hair pop out. You're good to go. Full Rex Kwando.
Yeah. DK just got a 60 watt MOPA, 3800.
Hey, nice.
That is really, really cheap. That worries me. Check all of the wiring in the insides. Dear God.
And then a bunch of thank yous because I'm just catching up to all of these people. Keith is asking, are you still recommending Mactron? Yes. But I like everything else. Kyle's Wisely, super awesome. Super, super awesome machine.
The
SFX,
it was on sale for $6,400, I think.
Yep. The SFX that got
shipping
down to Jimmy. Freaking awesome machine. You still liking that SFX over there, Jimmy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's having a blast.
Cool shit with that thing.
If you closed your eyes and threw a dart at the buying guide and bought whatever the dart hit, you're going to get a good machine. It's on the buying guide for a reason. So just to cover that, I would still say, like, if I was picking for you and you handed me your checkbook, I would buy you the Mactron. But that said, there's no bad options on the buying guide.
The other thing too, really those 50 and 60 watts give you that big field that, like, Jimmy makes those really cool art pieces, and that gives you a larger field too. So that's one more thing to consider. If you're doing large objects or things that have a lot of surface area, you need that power to throw down range on the 300.
And whatever the price difference is, if you're going to do that, spend the money. Right?
Yeah. It costs twice as much to make that change later.
Because what sucks is when you have the tool that you already spent your money on, and then you almost can do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like it hurts so bad.
Yeah. Then you got to spend double the money.
I saw that comment about the jewelry chat room on Discord. I just created it and added it to the trending category.
There it is.
In there. So there you go.
Just like that.
So
Magic fingers.
Done and done. Willie Sims, never bend the fiber cable sharply. So true.
Maintain the arch.
Want to acknowledge Brad here, just stopping by shortly before I hit the bed, showing some support. Thanks for what y'all do. I appreciate you. Got it, Brad.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks for coming by, bro. It's good to see you. We're gonna lightning round the rest of what's on here.
Yes.
Hi guys, grateful for this live stream. I've been discouraged because I'm having some issues that I think are basic, but I'm not sure what's going on. We would love to hear about them, and so would the community. There's a ton of places in the Laser Everything ecosystem that are set up to help you. We have our free Discord and Facebook group. We have the Laser Master Academy, number one way to support the channel. Priority kind of like support, very, very active. That's kind of where our active community hides. So that's a great place to get help. We have a forum on the website, just like a ton of places. There's a ton of stuff available. Drop us a detailed message in one of those places. Go ahead, Matt.
The quick thing I was going to say is I just wanted to shout out because I know last week or a couple weeks ago, somebody had said that our Facebook is the one group where they feel comfortable asking beginner and basic type questions because we will make sure nobody fucks with you because everybody started somewhere. There's really no point to shame somebody for something. So don't worry about asking questions. Now, the other thing, too, is use the search function. And I bet you $50, half of those questions have been talked about.
Yeah,
and you'll be able to find it with really great answers from a ton of people.
Still, some people don't know how to interpret those previous answers. And if you have questions about them, ask.
Yep.
Matt, can you read this?
Yeah,
I Google translated it.
I was going to say good night or good evening.
It says,
everybody.
"Good evening, everyone. I need a machine that makes deep engraving on stainless steel. Can you refer me?"
That's actually
buying guide. Lasereverything.net/buying guide. Go check it out. Link in the description. Like I said, speed running. Michael Dias is here. What's up, Michael?
Michael.
Helping a user in the LMA. That's what I'm talking about. People like Michael and Andrew and Matt are always in the LMA. Kyle's busting his ass in there 24/7, helping everybody they possibly can. There's so many of you. We're trying to get to every single one of you as fast as possible. So if you have questions, again, the LMA, not only does it support the channel, it's a great place to get help, as is our free communities, again, on Discord and Facebook. So make sure you check that out. Osbano Gaming says, have you guys covered how everyone on YouTube manages to engrave Yetis without a rotary? Yes, we have a couple videos about that. I'm not going to get super into it. Maybe the guys can link it in chat for you. The Project Mark Essentials video, if you're using EasyCAD, or the cylinder correction episode of the LightBurn for Galvo crash course will take care of that for you. I've got a 55 watt RF CO2 coherent tube. I've played around with the pen, but really haven't seen much of a difference. Do you know what a safe range might be with that tube? I haven't found much on it. I have a 30 watt RF CO2 coherent tube in my CO2 Galvo, but I am not sure what you mean by the pen. So
Is that like
clarify.
Yeah. What is,
I think he means the pen rotary jig.
The pen rotary jig. Oh, like the rotating table?
Yeah.
What a safe range might be with that tube. I need a little clarification on that one. If we have time here at the end. I have an Atom Stack P20 Pro 20 watt and keep getting fire when I try to do small details in 1/8 inch plywood. Any workarounds that don't triple the time? Are you running? Does that laser even support an air assist? Would probably be my first question. Push some air through. We talked about that with Michael one of the last few times he was on. I don't remember what episode it was on. Push some air, man. Push some air, CO2, diodes, anything where you're working on organics like that. You got to push some air because that air not only helps keep things clean, but it keeps those flames snuffed out too. So that would be my number one suggestion. Otherwise, you're probably going to be looking at an increased job time.
I was going to say also, when you're doing a lot of small details in wood, you're burning it in the same place over and over and over again. It's just going to start a fire. It's wood.
Yeah.
You know,
check your line distance, your resolution. If you're doing something like a raster image or
Less is more.
vector, make sure that that's not set too high. The higher that's set, the more times you're going to be hitting those same spots over and over and over again. So that would be something to look at as well. Air assist. Hey Kyle, there's 24 hours in a day. Get to it, brother.
I don't know why you pay Kyle.
Kyle never stops getting to it. It's
Kyle.
There is no stopping.
Thanks
There
for
is no stopping.
guys. You got Danny.
Danny Dangerous.
Blah blah blah. Oh my gosh, so many people. There's a link to the Discord down in the description. Ospano. Have you guys been jumping around this at all? Is there anything that I'm not seeing that?
I think we missed this one. So Joseph says, I have a 60 watt CO2 Galvo. I just got a 300 lens, and for some reason, I'm having the hardest time finding a focal length. Trying to listen for the sound, but it's hard with the fans going. Yes, they are loud.
Yep.
Tip is you're probably going to be on a 300 lens. Your focal distance is going to depend on like where your lens came from in the glass, because it's going to be different for every lens, but you're probably going to be around the 500 millimeter mark. If you're on a 500 millimeter tower and you're projecting onto something more than a millimeter tall, that could be why you're not finding it.
Yeah, I have an 800 millimeter tower on my CO2 Galvo for that very reason. And rather than doing the sound test, I took a aluminum business card and I put it at a 45-degree angle, and I ran a bunch of lines all the way up the card. And since the card is inorganic and doesn't burn, you get nice, clean, easy to see lines. You take the card, you put it under the microscope, you find the line that is the thinnest, and then you put it back where you marked it, and you measure from that line to the base of your lens, and you've got your focal distance. So that's how I did it on mine, because I just did mine a couple weeks ago.
I was going to say, just to add to what Kyle said, mine is about 500 millimeters from the mirrors, not from the lens, but from the mirrors. So just if that helps get you in the ballpark too.
The other problem with the 300 millimeter lens is the depth of field is so deep on those that a huge area, all of those lines are going to look the same, because it's just a massive range of area. And the dot's going to be fat, and it's going to be the same amount of fat for a large area, because you do get a larger depth of field on larger lenses. So it's definitely tricky. Kyle did mine with me when I was doing all of my lenses, and he saw me over there mucking about with it for a long time. When you get up into those higher value lenses, it definitely kind of adds up. Danny's saying, can't find much on the EMP Eon Galvo fiber laser. How does it line up with others? Great deal with Eon right now. We mentioned this. Was it last week?
It was last week or the week before, but I think it was last week. We don't know.
We don't know. It's a white label machine. I'm not going to go into this as in depth as I did last week. Go listen to last week's episode. But basically, it's being manufactured in China by a company that's probably existed for a while. And they are changing the anodizing and paint colors and putting a custom logo on it and scrubbing all of the information about where a laser is coming from, who's building it, where it's being built in China, how it's being shipped, all that kind of stuff. We aren't comfortable recommending lasers without that information. I want to know where it's coming from in China. I want to know who's manufacturing it. I want to know whether their employees are seasonal or, year round. Like there's a bunch of stuff. Seriously,
if they're using glasses like this.
Michael's laughing. We just had Marco on not too long ago from Light Object, and Marco told us that if you buy machines from factories with seasonal workers, typically rather than being like engineers or like equipment people that are used to handling stuff, they're just bringing the farmers in. And the farmers come in and they work until they're caught up, and then they send the farmers back to the farms. And the farmers come in, they don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean? They're just trying to
assembly line
on the assembly line,
right?
Rather than year-long employees who sit there all day and like do the same thing over and over, and they know the machines and they're trained. So things like that make a difference. I like to look into the history of the companies. I like to look at the stuff that they offer, and with the EMP, unfortunately, shout out to Danny. I love you, Danny. The Eons are great. We don't know anything about these EMP machines, and we are unlikely to know more anytime soon. For now, I would steer away to something that's been looked over. And again, check out the buying guide.
If you're getting it as a free add-on and you're already getting an Aeon, that's one thing because it's a bonus.
Right, bonus.
But if you're going out of your way to purchase it, that's a different story.
Yeah. Jennifer,
we
Jennifer
don't
Wise,
know. So
Jennifer Wise saying, I'm scared to buy the Chinese brand.
they're all Chinese.
Guess what, Jennifer? They are literally all Chinese, with very few exceptions. I would say the
it's like your phone.
The Trotex and the Epilogues are the only machines that I'm absolutely certain are manufactured in the US or Canada.
But what about the parts inside? Everything?
Of course, there's going to be some parts from.
Yeah,
there's going to be some parts. I mean, you can't build anything nowadays with electronic without.
That's what I'm getting at.
But
when it comes to laser technology,
as far as
it's all from China.
For Epilogue, as far as you know, how Apple says like designed in California,
right?
But clearly, we all know where the apples are made. Epilogue is one of those companies where it's like designed in Colorado, assembled in Colorado, serviced in Colorado. Like they do everything there. So they may import some parts to put in those machines, but there's about as US made as you're going to get.
I know Epilogue has like a facility where they are like bending the steel sheets to make the chassis for like the machine. You know what I mean? Like they're the best.
They make a huge amount of the components themselves. Yeah,
but you're gonna pay for that American labor. You know, so if you're gonna buy an $80,000, $60,000 machine or whatever.
But if you've got the money and it makes you feel comfortable, there you go.
But my point is, if you buy Boss, if you buy Eon, if you buy Thunder, all of these American companies that are, you know, AP Laser, they're all literally imported machines. Mm-hmm. They're imported machines.
Painted.
Somebody glances at them before they get shipped, and then they get shipped from their warehouse in the US.
And then they throw some stickers on them here and call them what they are.
So don't be that worried about it. It's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, and by the way, even Thunder Laser USA is a subsidiary of Thunder Laser China.
Right, precisely. So. And I think that is just about gonna catch us up. There's some technical stuff in here. I see this question about the tumblers. Can you post that one on the Discord or Facebook? Because I'm gonna want to take a little bit of a closer look at that. Ivan's saying, what about full spectrum laser Galvo lasers? You can get a full spectrum laser, but if you do, it's a very small community of users. They have proprietary software and proprietary hardware. If anything breaks, you can't buy parts to replace it unless you get them from FSL. And you have to learn their software, and nobody in the community is going to be able to help you with it because nobody else has it. That's my warning about FSL.
The settings don't entirely carry over.
Yeah, and they calculate settings a different way, and it's just a whole thing. I would avoid.
Your speed setting is going to be a percentage instead of an actual speed.
Right. Last one, very last one. When engraving cups, do I need different power settings for light and dark colors? Not just light and dark, every different color.
Every color.
Ideally, will have a different setting.
That for a gal or a fiber though?
Doesn't matter. All of them.
That's true.
Because every different color of tumbler is going to reflect a different amount of light. You have far more range with a CO2 because the CO2 typically isn't going to mark the metal underneath the powder coating. So CO2s generally are going to be much easier to engrave tumblers and powder coated items like that.
I learned
metal underneath.
You learn the hard way.
Yeah.
And that definitely is.
Yeah.
So what I did, since there is some variance even with the CO2 laser and 120 watts on some of these colors, I just found a setting that blasts through every color.
Yep, me too.
Run it a little slower.
With CO2?
Might add a little, with CO2. Might add a little time to the job where I could do it faster with different colors. But once I found a setting that blasts through every single powder coating color, that's the one I saved for that.
I found the power mark, and then I just slowed it down some. So that way the power never even changed. I just slowed it down a little bit. Yeah. It was like, 18% for me. Everything's gone.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the beauty with CO2 is it's really hard to overdo it.
You can overdo it.
So
You can't.
you can cook the shit out of it, but
It's just hard.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's much harder to do than it is with a fiber
Yeah.
where you blade
You
it.
can do anything you put your mind to.
Crystal, see you later. Absolutely, we're going to see you on E-Stop soon. Hopefully, we'll see Mr. Michael Mullins here on the Riley Black project soon. I would really, really enjoy that. I think that would be a great episode to listen to. And not to sign you up against your will, Michael, but I kind of just did. So sorry.
Get on that, Michael.
That's all we've got for today. Frank Taylor says this is better than tech support. You know it, baby.
Damn
if you're getting value out of this, don't forget to smash the like button. Let everybody else know that the content is good. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time we go live with a podcast. Ding, ding. I am officially caught up with our podcast episodes. Crazy. This time last week, we were behind like 8 episodes.
It was 8.
So in the last 7 days, I've completely published all those episodes. So if you've been getting pings, a lot of pings and notifications, sorry, we're done. I'm caught up. We're gonna get back to working on some regular episodes. I got Jimmy's episode on his light object air assist for his CO2 laser coming up, and then right after that, Matt's interview and exploration of the Rotoboss facility with Jason Reif. So you got a lot of good content coming up. I just got to get my editing hands doing what they do. Thank you. If actually, you know what?
So worth it.
Boys, give me the shirt pull. Go buy some merch, lasereverything.net/merch, or Curly, I guess. And
I grabbed the wrong shirt. It was dark in the lunchroom.
If you guys love what we do here last time, please go check out the Laser Master Academy. It's the #1 way to support the show. We are I think we're nearly at 2,800 subscribers over at the LMA now, which is insane. If you want to be one of those people, again, you get a couple bonus goodies, occasionally an extra episode of the podcast, occasionally a bonus live stream. Though we've been really publishing all of our content lately for free for everyone, and we're really proud of that. So the people that are there are really there to be part of that community, that really tight-knit community, and to support the channel and to make sure we can continue doing what we do. We couldn't be here without you, all of us. So thank you so much. And check out Michael's channel, Laser Engraving 911. We'll have a link down in the description for you. But he's also in my featured channels list on the main page. He's just right there, or you can just search it, Laser Engraving 911. He comes right up. Just had a brand new episode published on was it top 10 or top 20?
Top 20.
Top 20. You want to just plug it real quick?
Sure, yeah. 20 awesome online resources for your laser engraving business. So I'm just going to go through 20 online resources for you.
Laser Everything is on the list. Spoilers.
Yeah, I did include you, buddy.
Yep, thank you.
You are an awesome resource.
And Pokemon Archivist, if you want to unbox some Pokemon cards with me. E-Stop, if you want to say some bad words with us. I think that's all I've got. Thank you, co-host, for being here with me tonight. I appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody else, for watching. And we will see you in the next one. Have a great night.